If you want my team and I to fix your credit score, visit cashnow.video. Hey, what's up guys? John here. JP Morgan just came out and said that crypto has replaced real estate as a preferred alternative asset class. What I find very fascinating here is how they pivot back and forth on crypto. We all remember what Jamie Dimon came out and said. He said Bitcoin is worthless. He said that October of 2021. But what I think is happening right now is very fascinating inside the crypto space, inside of the economy, and what this crypto really means for Big Brother and everybody else. What I think we could be stepping into is a very, very unique type of situation in which they could have so much power and control over this utility that it actually turns out to be a real problem for the everyday investor. But what I think is unique and fascinating here in this specific situation is when we look at what happened in the past. Because whenever any smart investor makes a decision, they generally look at the historical cycles of said investment. Now with Bitcoin, you could look at their chart and you could say, okay, well Bitcoin is, it's not looking good for Bitcoin. But how many times has that been said in history, of the history of Bitcoin? There's been so many peaks and valleys, massive, 70, 80% losses from all-time highs. Then it really, generally appreciates and picks up much greater than the former, the last bull run. But what I think is fascinating here is what the history of crypto is going to look like. I believe it's going to look very much like the history of search engines, the history of social media platforms, where you don't really know who the big winner is going to be until many, many, many years down the road. Like when we look at search engines, for example, the top search engines, the 8 top search engines, you had Webcrawler, Lycos, AltaVista, Excite. All these thought that they were going to be the winner. Yahoo, Dogpile, and Ask Jeeves. Every single one at one point in time, people thought was going to be the real winner. Well, now cryptocurrencies, there's about 20,000 of them, all over when you consider all the altcoins and everything else. How is it going to be possible in this economy, in this state of the world that we're in right now, to select a real winner? And what is this really going to look like? Even with social media platforms, we had, the Daily Booth, Friend Feed, iTunes Ping, Google Wave, and Google Buzz, Meerkat, Friendster, Yik Yak, Vine, all of these, Google Plus, MySpace, all of which died, right? So you have all these platforms that died. And what I think is going to happen is very reminiscent of actually what Ray Dalio warned of a while ago. Ray Dalio said during the first week, February, Bitcoin News reported on the billionaire Ray Dalio said the founder of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates at the time, Dalio spoke about the future of money, and the investor said that crypto will be outlawed probably by different governments. That's what Ray Dalio said. But what they are saying, what now JP Morgan is saying, is that the financial services giant JP Morgan says crypto assets have now surpassed real estate in terms of growth potential. According to the new report, by Fortune, JP Morgan strategist guided by Nicholas said leading digital asset Bitcoin has room to grow while also forecasting a slump in real estate market due to rising mortgage interest rates. Now, I do agree that interest rates are going to have a massive effect on the real estate market. There's no doubt about it. It's going to impact commercial real estate. It's going to impact residential real estate. It's going to impact all real estate sectors because the more it costs to borrow money, the less of an attractive investment that's going to be for an investor, and the more costs that are going to be associated with actually acquiring that asset. And when that happens, prices generally come down. So yeah, there could be definitely some big moves to the downside in real estate. But when we look at cryptocurrencies through a highly inflationary environment, as well as one that has very high interest rates, what are we going to see? We're going to see an affordability crisis in this country. We have an affordability crisis. I believe we're going to see the shift away from like the stimulus investors, people that had stimulus and PPP loans, and they received handouts that were investing in the market. I think that's going to slowly start getting dried out of the market. And what are we going to see? We're going to see deep-pocketed investors. We're going to see people that are investing for the long haul, that are actually investing in true utility. I think we could also see many thousands of these cryptocurrencies and altcoins completely vanish overnight to where they're just completely gone. From the strategist target price for Bitcoin's around 38,000 mark, a near 30% increase in the top crypto asset market caps valuation. Now, when they generally put out these headlines, I always believe that they put these headlines out to just pump up their own books. Maybe they're sitting on a bunch of Bitcoin that they're trying to unload. I mean, if they really think that Bitcoin is going to run 30%, are they going to tell the general public, or are they going to lock in their trades early? You know, it always makes me wonder. They just come up with this stuff. People read the headlines like, okay, 30%, I can make that quickly. I'm just going to invest my money. And then they end up getting rug pulled. So whenever you hear these Bitcoin price predictions by any of these big banks, I would be very hesitant to take that as truth. The past month's crypto market correction looks more like a capitulation relative to last January, February, and going forward, we will see upside for Bitcoin and crypto markets move generally. Though the banking giant strategist recently downgraded alternative asset classes from overweight to underweight due to persistent macroeconomic challenges, they've now classified crypto assets as a preferred alternative asset class over real estate. That, to me, is interesting. You look at like Warren Buffett's quote. He said, the first rule of an investment is don't lose money. And the second rule of an investment is don't forget rule number one. You don't think that banks are following this same trend? Do you think that they're going to step into this uncertain era that we're in and bet all this money on crypto, not knowing what the real long-term utility is going to look like, what the market's going to look like? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. That's just my opinion. I think that, they're talking overweight to underweight. I think that they're probably more bullish on owning something that's real. When I say real, I mean real estate. Something you can go touch, you can lay down on the land, like something that is, that's going to be here for 50 years, 100 years. It's still going to have some real utility. Whereas cryptocurrencies, you're simply, depending on the crypto, of course, most cryptocurrencies is simply computer code, right? And so it's only worth what other buyer is willing to pay for it, right? The same could be said about real estate, but at least with real estate, you could rent it out, you can do other things, right? I believe that as we step into uncertain times, people are going to be plowing more money into real estate, such as banks. I think banks are going to be buying more and more and more land. I don't think that they're going to be betting all their money on random altcoins like Dogecoin and Shiba. Just my opinion. The strategists further say that the most recent crypto market pullback, which saw the digital assets industry shred over $1 trillion in market cap, has had little to no impact on the rate at which venture capitalist firms are pouring their funds into crypto assets. Recently, venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz announced the launch of 2 crypto funds, one with a massive $6.5 billion digital assets and another $600 million for metaverse games. What I think also is going to be very unique, and this is what I'm betting on happening, is I believe that we're going to start to see more and more stimulus programs down the road. I think universal basic income is going to be a real thing. They're pushing it in 23 different cities and states right now. They're pushing all these different types of subsidy programs. You think they're going to be mailing out checks and paying for stamps and postage? Do you think they're just going to mail out the money? No. I think they're going to have everyone download their own digital wallet and that they're going to receive digital dollars. This is what I think. They're working on a Fed coin. We all know this. And so if they're going to be working on a digital payment system, right, people are going to have to download the wallet to actually receive that digital payment system. And then that digital payment system is going to be as valid as they say it's going to be. It's going to be as valid as how desperate people are for the money, right? And so if that happens, I believe we're going to start to see more of a push into that direction over the next few years. And I think it's going to really, as I've mentioned, push the cryptos, the things out that have no utility or very, very minimal utility. And the ones that are going to stand are going to be probably a collection of 10 or 20 that are going to have massive utility, that are going to be 10x, 50x, 100x, or 1000x gains that we don't even maybe know about yet. This whole industry is changing as a whole, massively. And I think over the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to look at crypto a completely different way. But what do you think about this entire situation, this entire statement from JP Morgan? Do you think that cryptocurrencies right now in this current environment, it's a better bet to just simply guess and gamble on which one's going to be the winner over the next 5 to 10 years, or is it better to buy and hold real estate, land? Drop your comments below. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Also subscribe to my second channel. It's going to be a podcast and interactive show this week. Also LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everything's in the banner. Catch you guys later.